But I want you to listen to me. I've been where you at, nigga. But you gotta keep fighting, you hear me?
Yeah, man, of course.
Cause this shit ain't your fault.
Lee, stop.
When you leave here, go back in that dorm, grab the first nigga you see and beat the fuck out that nigga till they grab you off of that nigga. You hear me? Show who the fuck you is, nigga. No, look at this nigga face, man. Fuck. Show who the fuck you is. Any nigga that motherfucking try you, beat the fuck out that nigga. Show who the fuck you is, nigga. Fuck that phone, nigga.
Underworld, and I'm your host and executive producer, Brandon Green. Today we have a resilient, family-oriented man from Cleveland, Ohio, who rose above adversity to inspire others. Born into a large, close-knit family of 9, he overcame expulsion from Cleveland Public Schools, earning his GED and becoming a proud father of 2 by 17. Despite facing incarceration and losing loved ones, he emerged stronger, committed to authenticity and social emotional intelligence. Now, nearing his associate's degree and pursuing a bachelor's in organizational leadership, Mr. C embodies perseverance, inspiring a brighter future for his family and community. And we'd like to introduce to you Mr. Cordell Hubbard. A native from Cleveland, and he happens to be the co-defendant of, I think, the guest we had on episode 2, Mr. L. Saylor. And he had a story to tell, and we wanted our listeners to hear it because it's some much-needed information. And again, for those who just might be tuning in, we'll be interviewing Mr. Cordell Hubbard. So we're just waiting on him to call in at any minute.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, this is the Streetz podcast, and today we're interviewing Mr. Cordell Hubbard. I think he's tuned in with us. How you doing today, man?
Yes, sir. Yeah. How you doing, BG? How you doing, brother?
Man, I can't call it. We got Mr. C on the line, so let's get to it. First things first. We thought we'd do an icebreaker this evening. It's a new segment we are adding to the podcast called Who Said It? We'll give you a phrase, and you have to guess who said it. Your options are politician, rapper, preacher, gangster, could be headline news, as well as TV or film. So here go your quote. I'm about to give it to you, bro. Okay, it says, I'm rocking my peers, putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Who said that?
That sounds like a rapper right there. That type of quote right there sounds like a rapper. But I could politicians thinking they rappers these days anyway, but I'm going with rappers, man.
Okay, you got that right to rapper. You want to try to guess which rapper said it?
Not at all, man. They all sound the same these days, but y'all hit the lightning. Who is it, BG?
Well, this is back in the day, man. This LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out, 1996.
Mama said knock you out. Oh, man, crush it like a jelly bean, man. Who bad? Okay, LL.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. We got I got a few questions, man, and the time will go by quickly. So, as answer as quickly as you can. So, myself and our listeners can hear what you got to say. So your life story is both unique and compelling. You've experienced a lot, from growing up in Cleveland to becoming a young father and grandfather, to facing life-changing situations while in the legal system. I'd like to start by asking you, could you tell us about your childhood and growing up with 8 siblings in Cleveland's St. Clair neighborhood?
Well, pretty much, you spoke it. Coming up in Cleveland, Ohio, St. Clair, I'm pretty sure it's like anybody's communities, man, that's low-income privates. Privates with the income, man. It was good, man. My household was tight. I grew up with a lot of love. We was rich in love and spirit. So, the financial aspect is what motivated me to start getting to the streets. The streets, we call the streets, is trying to find creative ways to generate some revenue. All this other different things. So that's what I was into, man. I came up with 4 brothers, 4 sisters. And so it was a big household, man. There was a lot of love, man, as far as my environment goes. That contributed to shaping who I was, my way of thinking, how I started to think, how I looked at situations, and how I thought, addressing situations in the magnitude that I did was normal. Really, it was abnormal. But, my environment shaped me, but I was blessed with my mother and my father, man. So my upbringing was tight. I really didn't have any, I don't have no uncle who told me story. We was blessed. Our only difficult challenges was trying to find some wins, be creative again to generate some revenue, man, to ameliorate our situation. So, that answers the question.
Well, being part of a family-oriented, family as well as community, did you feel the influence of that on your values and decisions as you grew up?
Most definitely. My father instilled values in me, man. Me and my brothers and my sisters. And so I was grateful that I ain't had to get mad coming from the streets or another dude acting like he was something that he wasn't. My father, he was that for real, and so I was blessed to have him. So absolutely, with my environment shaped me on how to go about handling situations. I govern myself with a rule of principles, with a set of principles, man, that I govern myself. That was embedded in me by my father. We put family first. We put the principles over that paper. And I moved like that. But the environment that I grew up in, it moved by a different set of principles. They put that money over the principles, and it get wicked like that at times. So, but yeah, the environment definitely helped shape my way of thinking. But I was blessed to have my father that embed them core values and principles of business.
Okay. At just 15, you became a father yourself. How did that responsibility impact your outlook on life, and what lessons did you learn along the way?
And thank you for asking me. I had my first child at 15. I had his brother at 17 with the same lady. The same lady, man, blessed me with 2 seeds, man. She puts 2 beautiful souls out into this world. I chose to dive in with, unprotected. And, and that's what came about, man. I had jumped off the porch wanting to be an adult. And then by me just, acting irresponsible, I was faced and grown man responsibilities was placed in my lap. I had impregnated my son's mother. I turned 15, and 3 months later she had our son. And so, it helped shape me, and it actually saved my life. My 2 sons saved my life. Cordell and Patricia, man, they saved me because at that age, I'm not thinking like my friends is thinking. The dudes I was coming up thinking. They want to just kick it and play. It ain't play for me. I got to get money for Similac and Pampers. I got real life responsibilities going on. So I think that really saved my life, man, because it forced me to look at life for what it really was at that young age.
Okay, so my next question is it kind of coincide, like when you had got expelled from, Cleveland Public Schools, and that was a pivotal moment for you, as we know. But you also had these kids, so can you walk us through how that event shaped your life and your perspective on education?
Most definitely, education, it's different facets of education. And again, man, like I say, man, my father, he was an entrepreneur, so he was blessing me with all different type of education as far as life skills. But the academic education, that was hindered due to me acting out. You know, I used to act how I felt. So I was acting impulsively, you know, due to assault. I had assaulted a security guard. He tried to keep me after school. He tried to keep me after school when the last bell rung. I told him, man, that's kidnapping. You can't keep me here, man. You know, he tried to, you know, I wind up. We got the tussle, I dumped him, you know, so I had got expelled from Cleveland Public Schools behind that. So I also went to juvenile detention center behind it too. So while up in there, I found out that you could just take a test and get your GED. And I was blessed with comprehension skills. I just felt like some of the things that they was teaching in there was irrelevant, but so I had to go that route. I always value education. I ain't talking to academic education either, because the lack of information, EG, breeds opportunity for manipulation, man. When you're in a state of being and not knowing something, that allows the next party to come through and manipulate you in whatever fashion they want to, because you're not in the know. So at a young age, I always place value on information. And I always sought it out, too. I did my due diligence. I always challenged any information that came my way to educate myself, to put myself in the know. That way I could start moving with confidence. And so, you know, that's how I see that. And I'm just grateful that I was able to get that before I even came to prison. As far as getting my GED, I got my GED, man, and it was a good accomplishment. I tried to go to college out there, but you know, I ain't got to run around with the financial aid, and I had heavy responsibilities, man. So I let that serve as an excuse for me to continue to do other creative things, again, to generate, you know, a couple of dollars, man, and take care of my responsibilities. The education is definitely important.
Okay, so ultimately, you were sentenced to prison. You were the rock and glue of the family prior to your sentencing. Did you have any feelings that you have fallen short of letting the family down when you were charged?
You know, it's always a sad situation when any member of a family is removed. You know, I was just talking to my dude earlier, like, it's no such thing as an insignificant part of the body. Like, every part of the body means something. So there's no such thing as an insignificant member to the family. So anytime a family member gets removed from that family, it's always going to be a blow. But it was crucial for me at that time because, unfortunately, I had three of my brothers. They was incarcerated at the time. My baby brother, he was incarcerated in juvenile at the time. So I'm the only brother outside on the streets, man. I was doing it without feeling, you know, to make so I held them down while they was doing their time and showed them support and be an advocate for them while in society. I had nieces and nephews, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. So, and again, let's make no mistake. I don't want no pat on the back and no clap for doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a man, because that's what you're supposed to be doing as an uncle and as a brother and as a friend. But when I got removed, things, it failed. Now my brothers ain't getting no money orders for commissary. Ain't nobody there to really pick up the phone for the collect call outside of my mother and my father. You know? So a lot of their support had failed. Not only that, my sons. I got two sons. They used to see me every day. My sons who used to see me, since they got pushed out the womb, BG. So when I got removed from my kids' life, they didn't understand it. They just kept asking me, Daddy, when you coming home? and it was a sad thing because on a visit, man, my youngest boy, he's 26 right now. He'll be 26 on the 21st. Sure, whatever. Happy birthday, November 21st. Like, he was like 5 years old, man. My man still visiting the floor. He said, Daddy, when you coming home? I couldn't lie to my son, but I said, I don't know. Are you just going to keep coming to see me till I do? He said, for sure. As you see, man, if the pictures rotate, man, you see them coming to get me. So it was very crucial. But I got to say this, though, because I'd be remiss if I didn't, BG. I know we pressed for time, but I'd be remiss if I didn't speak on this right quick. The same pain that I felt for being removed from my family, I had to understand as I grew and matured that, hell, I'm responsible for somebody else's pain and hurt. For that addition to their family being removed. You know what I'm saying? I'm responsible for taking somebody's life while in the process of preserving my own. So at that time, you know, it was just like, oh, that come with the game.
You have 1 minute remaining.
But as I became cognizant, and when my brother got taken from our family, he passed in 2016. I felt that pain. I said, oh, so that's what that feel like. So, you know, yeah, even though me getting removed from my family structure was a hard blow, I understand that the blow that I impacted the victim's family with too, though. But, yeah. I know you calling back because we ain't done, B.
Well, yeah, we got a long way to go on the show while to make it, but this is them Streetz podcast, Voices of the Underworld. We'll be back momentarily with Mr. Hubbard, or Mr. C as he like to be called.
Yeah,
we'll be right back to our listeners.
Yeah.
This is them Streetz podcast, Voices of the Underworld, and we're back with Mr. C from Cleveland, Ohio. We may be waiting on him to call back in. However, before the break, you know, you heard he spoke on, you know, his side of being, you know, he faced all sides. You know, he took somebody's life as well as, you know, he spoke from the perspective of the victims. And then he even had his own scenario where his brother was killed, which, you know, we sorry to hear that. But we back with Mr. C now, so if you could you elaborate more on that? You know, because a lot of times, you know, we be in the streets and we do, but we don't necessarily think about the victim.
Yeah, and so, like, and I'm glad you asked, man. And like I say, man, I appreciate it, man, for this platform, too, and I respect what you're doing, bro, because it's needed. So, with that, like I said, coming up, we was told not to play with guns. And when you in them streets, man, like I say, we call the streets just another vehicle to get a couple of dollars or some revenue to take care of your responsibilities, because at that time, the opportunities were short. So, while we was in there, man, it's a whole mindset that's developed. You know, it's either 8 or get 8 out there. It ain't no love in them streets. So when a person playing with you don't look at it as playing. I don't know if this man playing with me with a pistol or not. If I up a gun on you, you gonna take that as me threatening your life. So at that time, I felt justified in doing what I had to do. Like I say, I'm responsible for taking a man's life in the process of preserving his home. Unfortunate situations had came about, and what led up to it didn't even matter. But like I said, I didn't even think about the wrong or the impact that I had caused until I was impacted, until my family was impacted. Because at that time, like I said, I felt justified. I had to do what I had to do. My brother got killed. I said, well, damn, that's what this feel like, right? I read through that on the J-Pay. Dude showed me that on the J-Pay, man. Come on, man, your brother got, I said, oh, man. And so at that time, it's like, ain't no get back. I can't get my lick back, can't get no get back. Like my brother gone, it's like, damn, it was sad. So at that time, again, just understanding the way we came up was wrong. That shit ain't normal. Out there taking lives. That's regicide, man. Regicide, killing of a king and a queen. So from that, I just started to shift my paradigm, man. I just started doing work on myself, and I just started to tear down a lot of them old ideologies that I had. And I'm understanding now, I got to minimize my contribution to any type of harm or hurt that I'm doing to my people. So right now, that's what type of time I'm on.
Okay, well said, man. How did your sentence impact your personal and professional relationships?
It was hard, man. You gotta understand. So with my situation, like, I'm talking about sentencing, man. You know, not to get too detailed, but at the same time, I had an innocent man and an innocent woman being sentenced right along with me. Innocent man was a childhood friend of mine who was being sentenced, right, for a crime he didn't commit. The innocent woman was my sister who was being sentenced for a crime she had nothing to do with. They gave my sister some time because they said had she not made a phone call, this wouldn't have took place. And I understand that. Well, so with sentencing, you talking about getting sentenced to 23 years of life. Sentencing my sister to 17 years of life. And man who had nothing to do with this situation at all, to 25 years of life, man, that was heavy. It's heavy. Because I'm saying at that time, the thin line was crossed. Either you a real friend or was you a club buddy? Is you a real family member or you just a kin to me? You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, like I say, it was rough. That impacted relationships and all, but I will say this too. It filtered the genuine people and those who were just around because it benefited them. And I will say this, man, BG, I had a great support system. Still do to this day, man. Rest in peace to the people that I had lost along the way, but I had a great support system being at that time and some individuals who didn't budge when that sentence came out. And then I had some individuals who ain't come to not one court date, but they came to the sentencing. So they could go run tell it. But, you know, it just be like that. So it affected my relationships. I had people hopping out of the car, meaning just a common language, a colloquial in prison. We call that leaving without a Dear John or Dear John letter. Ain't no phone calls being answered. Ain't nobody going over there by your mommy Duke's house making sure she tight. Ain't nobody pulling up on the son's mother to making sure they tight. Them people knew how I love my children. And ain't nobody going over there to do that. But it ain't nobody's job but mine because I'm the father. So the relationships, it impacted the relationships because my son's mother was very upset at me. She told me something, BG. She said, I say, I'm behind you upset at me. You came up the same way I did. She said, but I would have never did nothing that took me away from my kids like that. And I had to respect it. So, you know, I ain't seen my child's mother in a long time. It's been over 10 years. We have a cordial relationship because it was toxicity up in that. But that came from us being young and not knowing really how to communicate effectively, man. So, like, now I'm big on communication. That's why I'm big on social intelligence and emotional intelligence. Because, you know, in order to be engaged in a relationship, you got to know how to respect that other party, period. So, you know, I don't want to take up too much time, but so, I mean, you know, if you okay with that, we can go to the next question.
No, we here, man. We listen, our listeners. We need this. It's a lot of different sides listening. So let's go. Here we go. I remember some years ago, and you got to tell me about this. And I bring this up because you brought up your son's mother and y'all relationship. We was in Mansfield, and your boys was little. We was on a visit, and I remember, man. I swear, if my memory serves me correct, you and your baby mom, y'all got into it, and I want to say she poured pop on you.
Oh yes,
is that
or 7-Up? No, that's correct.
I said she was hurt though. I understand it from her perspective. She was hurt.
I hurt, man. And it's funny, but it ain't funny though. You heard me? Cause she coming down here. Cause listen, bro. Now I got removed from her life. I don't care how toxic our relationship was, man. I loved her that lady. I still love her. But I'm talking about back then. I loved her in a way that I couldn't express it. We came up. She come up in the same neighborhood that I did, so I didn't know how to communicate these things. So when she coming down and bringing my children down there, I'm neglecting the fact that she making sacrifices to getting on that highway. It take money to do that. It take money to fill that car up and get down there. It take money you missing out on money from working, bringing them children down there. I ain't thinking about none of that because I was so caught up on self, like I'm feeling like she obligated to do that. So at that particular time that we had on the visit, I remember that vividly too, man, because she got suspended behind that incident too for a whole year. I'm like, man, you got to call her. I ain't coming back down there. But yeah, we had got her to her and she was hurt, man. You know, it was fine. Okay. It was rough for her. You know what I'm saying? But it was, yeah, I remember that, man. But yeah, you got a vivid memory.
Well, I do. Well, our next, this next question is really, our listeners, they need to hear this. And what I want to ask you is, what would you say to someone who is listening, who has a loved one that's in prison?
Be patient with them, man. Please be patient with them. And I'm still going through this right now. I'm just making a call right now. And my lady friend, she is trooper, man. She a trooper, man. And I respect her because she be taking all my stuff, man. All my stuff. I'm so impatient. We need y'all to be patient with us when y'all dealing with us. Don't throw in the towel. Because it's very important that you understand that we going through things in here that we don't express. When we get on this phone, I'm going to speak from the eye. When I get on this phone, I don't want to talk about nothing about jail. When I get on this phone, I'm trying to stay connected on the house, what's going on in your life, what's up with society. But we still feeling. We still going through the oppression of being incarcerated. Tired of being oppressed and incarcerated. So it's going to be some things that's going to be spilling out that ain't even meant for you. And so it's very important, I just ask you sincerely, man, that y'all please be patient with your people. I ask if y'all got loved ones that's incarcerated, they got children, please, man, pull up on their seeds. Be an uncle, be a friend, be an auntie, pull up on them seeds, man, because they need to know that you guys are the individuals that help bridge the gap between that parent and that child. It's very important that you support your peoples, man. Get them out app. And that stuff costs 10 cents, man, to send a message. And it's coming through like a text message. I ain't even got to try to sneak and geek to get no phone no more because it serves just like a text message these days. You hear me? So get them out right, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. When you get on there, you see a little green turquoise dot from somebody that you ain't heard from in a long time, man. Like, I was just thinking about you, see. That lighten me up, man. That brighten me up, man. That put gas in my tank. So to the listeners, if y'all out there listening, y'all got loved ones incarcerated, man, do your best to support them in whatever fashion that you can. It ain't got to be about no money. Send a message. It costs 10 cents. You can get at that man 100 times for $10. So I'll say that.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that drugs can tear a family apart. How did that experience shape your understanding of addiction, and what do you think needs to change in how we approach this issue in our communities?
That's an uphill battle, BG. If I'm just gonna be transparent, I'm a realist, so that's an uphill battle. But I will say this, man, being that I'm solution driven, I do understand that it starts with self. Knowledge is self. We gotta understand that what is we addicted to. You know what I'm saying? I was addicted to the lifestyle of hustling, illegitimately. There ain't nothing wrong with hustling. Hustling is work ethic. But when you're doing it illegitimately, it's a bad thing. And so I'm understanding right now, alcoholism, drugs, whatever the case may be, it's a sad situation. This whole situation took place behind a $20 West cigarette. $20, man. It wasn't no harm, no foul. $20. Come on, man. My bond was $250,000, 10%. Man, come on, $20. So we never know the pain that or the domino effect behind drugs. So it started with self. We got to start digging deep to see why we want to start abusing the drugs in the first place. What got us to the point where we so stressed out that I'm talking about I ain't got no money, but I'm licking the blunt, I'm rolling out there talking about I'm bone, I'm on E, I'm financially embarrassed. But you still drinking, you still smoking. You still complaining about what's going on, but you still tapping in with the drugs, you're abusing the drugs. So for me, it's about knowledge of self. And I ain't here to judge nobody. Because I done had it all in my family, and I probably done half of it myself. So I'm just saying, it's very important, man, that we just start tapping into that resiliency, man, and start gaining some mental fortitude and being stronger in the circumstances that we be met with. Never mind them drugs. Depending on your creator, the Most High. I can honestly say right now, man, I ain't tapped into that, man. I've been drug-free in this institution that I'm in. And I'm happy for it, man, because I'm back to my natural self. Now I'm hitting me depending on the Most High. So as far as attacking that thing, it's going to take a community, man. It's going to take more than the community. Because you got to understand this big business, too. They got a whole, the institution, man, real quick, got a program that's called MAT, right? This MAT thing is medically assisted treatment. And they say the reason is to help wean the person off the hardcore drugs they own. But, man, it's all about big business. They ain't trying to kill that shit. They ain't trying to stop that. They're making too much money off of it. So, at the end of the day, man, we gotta start taking control of our lives as parents, as friends, as brothers and sisters, man, and really be a peer recovery supporter to that individual who might be on drugs, because I might need somebody to support me if I ever get down bad again. So I think it starts with self, man, just holding each other accountable, man, being accountability partners, man.
Okay, well said. Well, on another note, I know you can remember, as we was kids, we used to watch TV, and wasn't easy to believe that everything is real. And do you feel like the entertainment industry glamorizes images that are less than ideal?
The industry glamorizes ideas, images that are less than ideal. So what I think is, right, the industry these days, they whatever the wind blow, that's where they going. It ain't no substance no more. Oh, you want to hear about me spinning?
You have 1 minute remaining.
They on that. You know what I'm saying? And so, industry different, man. It's just, They doing whatever for $1 these days. We call that selling your soul. So, but I mean, they doing whatever to just turn a quick buck. Some people ain't thinking about longevity. Some people just trying to secure the bag right now for this moment. Do whatever they want to do with it. And so, like, for me, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Everybody trying to do somebody else instead of being unique. I'm listening. Go ahead, brother.
Well, not to cut you off, we have to go one more time because we got a lot more heat for our listeners.
I'm with it, man.
Okay, just them Streetz podcast. We'll be back momentarily with Mr. C. This is them Streetz podcast, Voices of the Underworld, and we're back with Mr. C from Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, we still may be waiting on him to call back in, but to our listeners, you can see that we go in a few different places, but we speaking to the actual, the people who did the crimes, the victims, to also, the guys that did the crimes, things happening to their family members. But as this interview, as we move forward, we're going to, bring, show what the positive can happen. And to the listeners that don't know, Mr. C is still incarcerated himself. And he's the co-defendant of, I think that was our second guest, Mr. L. Saylor. And so this is, like we told you from the beginning, we're going to bring you stories from all sides. So, everybody can get an understanding, from a street aspect of what's going on and how it affects everybody. And so we're still waiting on him to call back in. He should be back in any moment now. And to our listeners, me and this guy, we met years ago when we were young in Mansfield Correctional Institution, and he was a good dude from Cleveland. Even though it was always a feud between me being from Akron and being from Cleveland, but we had a common ground. They came from good people, and I did too. So we understood that it was bigger than some cities or some streets. So we've been in touch all these years later. So we're just waiting on him to call back in. He should be here any moment. And this is them Streetz podcast, Voices of the Underworld. And we should be back with Mr. C from Cleveland, Ohio, St. Clair. This is his neighborhood. On boys now, and he's just doing everything he can to stay upbeat and to stay positive. By way of writing books, doing spoken word. I think the prison that he's in, which is Grafton Institution, is more of a program-based prison. So that's what's going on all day, every day. Like, no matter the time, most of the guys that are serving time there, they trying to, make the best of the situation and take the programs to try to better themselves, from the inside out, to try to change, the way they think. So, where they act, follow right along with it. This is them Streetz podcast, Voices of the Underworld, and we're back with Mr. C from Cleveland, Ohio.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, man, good to have you back. I didn't know what happened, but nevertheless, let's get to it, man. You let's see, you've written a few books. What inspired you to do so, and what can you tell us about the books that you've authored and what they mean to you?
Well, a small correction. I wrote one book. I did write a couple, but I published one.
Okay.
It's a spoken word book. And I try to get creative with the approach. What inspired it was an elder in here. His name Lynn Bob Howard. Lynn Bob Howard, you familiar with Lynn Bob? He was a published author. He published quite a few books, and he used to always tell me, "Let's see, you gotta tell your story. You gotta tell your story." I wasn't ever into that, right, at the time, until it was recording. So I decided to blow dust off a lot of the poems that I already had, and I chose to give the people some insight about the poems and how they came about to be. And so that's what I did with the book, man. I gave the people a piece of me. That's the title was, A Piece of Me. And I just chose to just give a brief synopsis of what the poem was about and how it came about, composing it, and then I just gave them the poem. I inserted some pictures in there too, man, just to give them a piece of me of my life as far as my family and stuff like that, man. the whole thing for me though, BG, it was just to show myself that I could do something while I'm still locked up. You know, we hear that saying, lock my body, can't lock my mind. Well, this is a prime example of me really implementing that right there. Like, lock my body, but can't lock my mind. And, you know, salutations to you, because you've been on this type of time as far as being an author back then. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So real quick, man, I don't want to get off topic, but I just want to say, because you talk about entertainment, man. Hey, you know, you was the Zion before Zion came about, man, on that basketball court, man. Hey, you out busting out shoes and the presence in the paint, man, before that took place. But, yeah, you know, brothers like yourself, brothers like Lynn Bob Howard, and, you know, you guys inspired me, man, and Lynn Bob really pushed the envelope on that, telling me to go ahead and put the pen to the paper, so that's what inspired me.
Okay, that's what's up, man. And I definitely appreciate the shout out. You're not only an author, but you're also pursuing a degree in organizational leadership. And also, can you tell us about the Golden Cipher and your role there?
Oh man, the Golden Cipher. So the Golden Cipher is a non-profit organization. My mother is the founder and the executive director. Right? It's a cultural youth development center. And she's been in business for over 24 years right now. Right? And she started in her living room. And the whole purpose for it is just to, she will always tell you, the whole reason why I started this in my living room is show you that you don't need no money to live on these kids. And she meant that. And so she put a lot of work in Cleveland, Ohio. Her work is reputable. She do a lot of work in the juvenile detention center, dealing with the youth in the inner city, right? And so my role there is, outside of being a jegner is a mentor, right? For the young dudes, for the young men, because they call young men emerge. My brother, Anthony Hubbard, he facilitates that. He's over there, young man emerge. And so back when they had JK, I would call and do FaceTime and do a bomb with a couple of youth niggas. So I would serve as a big brother there. But outside of me just being a mentor to them young guys and just using my lived experiences and showing what route not to take, I also like to create curriculums. So I draft up a new curriculums, the most how to bless me with creativity, on how to just use my experiences as teachable moments. And so I just draw up curriculums and send them out. Some they use, and some of my mother tell me like, well, that's a nice idea, but we gotta wait for you to be here because we need the bodies to do that. But one of the curriculums they implement is MVP. And it's go MVP, and I tell them you will always remain the most valuable player by maintaining your morals, values, and principles. So that's a curriculum that they've been putting down for a few years now, though. So that's my role in that. As far as school go, I'm so grateful to be able to be in college because it was a point in time where you couldn't get no type of higher education. For me, they say you had to be 5 years to the parole board, 5 years to go home. Again, being that judge sentenced me to 23 years of life, man, I couldn't see no college. I had my GED before I came to prison, so, you know, I did like 18 years of educating myself. So I've been in college now for over a year. Like I said, I got a couple of more semesters. I got 6 more classes. I'm going to knock down this general degree in my associates in general studies. But I'm going to get my organizational leadership and development because I found my niche in helping training individuals to abide by whatever curriculum somebody else needed to do. So as far as I could train, I want to be able to train and get paid to do that. I like helping develop leadership skills in people anyway, because I did it. And it was fun for me. And so now that I know I'm a leader, man, it's on. Because a man with a plan, he can go places. So that's what I'm in school for right now.
Okay, well, you real big on social and emotional intelligence. You know, that's big parts of your life. Can you share how these skills have helped you?
Tremendously. So, you know, I used to be real standoffish, and it's funny because I'm a people's person. But only the people who knew me would know that. If I didn't know you or wasn't familiar with you, I wouldn't crack a smile because there's no need for us to associate. Because again, man, people can become dangerous. But anyway, so learning that I had to really check myself as far as my emotions. When I started doing spoken word poetry, man, I was tapping into feelings that I didn't even know I had. It was ill feelings lying dormant in me since I was 13 years old. So once I started tapping in myself, I started realizing like, oh man, let me eradicate this. Let me eradicate that, because untreated trauma transfers, right? You transfer that energy. But when you treat that trauma, now you transform to a different type of a different type of way of thinking. I'm gonna say that. So I'm big on that emotional intelligence. I'm big on social intelligence because we gotta learn how to use our discernment. A lot of times, it's okay to be lip locked. Have your lip locked, because the wisest man in the room is the one might not be saying anything. And then also, it's a certain time we got to use our discernment and when to speak, when to engage in conversations with people, with strangers, because this individual might be a key to your success. So, just raising the bar on that, man, just learning how to be aware of the room, using your discernment and things like that, man, it helped me tremendously, man.
Okay, so let's go back to your family. And as a young grandfather, congratulations on that. Yeah, what are some of the values you want to pass to the next generation?
Oh man, so many of them, man. One thing I want to do is I want to put stock in values. You know what I'm saying? A lot of time, meaning, a lot of times we don't even know what a value system is. And so once we realize our value system is the things that we cherish, it started to put that, we got to prioritize that list. So for myself, it was money. Of course, family was on the top of everything, because that was the whole reason why I was motivated to go get a couple of dollars in the first place, because I wanted to take care of my sons that I had created, right? So I used to have that money. It was at the point of my focus to where I get out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. So now I'm understanding now that money don't make you. The principles as a man make you. Governing yourself as an adult, as an accountable and responsible individual, that's what makes you. So for my sons, right, I tell my sons, young Trill, I tell him all the time, man, I respect you and your brother, man, because they got a son, they got a daughter of peace, right, and I love that. But I tell them I respect them and I love them. And I respect them on the strength that they not cheating out there in society. I told them I was cheating because I was out there hustling illegitimately. I was out there hustling in the streets illegitimately, and so I was cheating the game. But with that cheating, when you cheat in the game, it comes with consequences. And so I told him I respect him for thugging it out, man, and just doing the right thing, being a working man, and going about it the right way. So that's one of the things that I'm passing down to my sons, that they already inherited it. I can't even take all the credit because they're doing these things themselves. But for my granddaughters, I want to let them know you don't need things and assets to feel beautiful. I love natural beauty, BG. Like, I love a woman who can just naturally be herself. I ain't knocking them when they put it on either. I like the lashes, I like the hair and all that, but I want to make sure that you feel beautiful too when you ain't got none of that on. I knew a female, she wouldn't even answer the door for my brother because so much she didn't have her face on. What are you talking about? Like, so I want to make sure I pass that down to my granddaughters, man. Like, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
And that. So them a few things real quick.
Well, we like I say, man, it's been real, man. We want to say before as we getting close to a close, it's been a pleasure having you. We got another major question. What advice would you give to others who might be going through similar struggles, whether it's dealing with loss, incarceration, or growing up in a challenging environment?
We got to have a different set of glasses on for every situation. Even though the trauma and the challenges is all similar, because you're dealing with pain, right? And you're dealing with so much overwhelmness that sometimes you can't even gather your thoughts to even think properly. But for guys in the joint or guys who serving time in prison, I would like to say to you all, hey man, find a purpose. Be purposeful. You know what I'm saying? Because a man without a plan is only good for a man with one. Make this time count for you. Be productive. This is college right now. Going to college. I ain't just talking about Ashland college. I'm talking about this is the college. Learn all you can so you can go ahead and capitalize when you get back into society. Strengthen the relationships with your peoples out there in the streets in society, because they missing you too. For the people that's outside and out in society going through things, stay resilient. Meaning keeping that bounce back in you. You fall down, get up again. You heard of Leah, dust yourself off and try it again. Do not let the cares of the world just put so much pressure on you that you just want to throw your hands up and give up. Keep fighting. Keep that fight. You got to dig deep. Dig deep and keep pushing. And you too. I got a saying I like to say, I put in my book too, man. Your circumstances will turn into experiences. when you are strong enough to get through them. So that's what I want to say to the people out there in society, and that's what I want to say out to the people that's right here incarcerated, man, doing their time, man. Make this time count for you.
Okay, and how can our audience find or connect with you?
Well, you know, get it out, man. They got an app on the phone, man. It's crazy, man. They want to make it real accessible to get that money, man. But getting out, they got an app on the phone, Android or Apple. Getting out, download that Getting Out Messenger, and then put my number in there. The letter A, 451-759. My last name, Hubbard, I'll pop up. I'm a Grafton Correctional Facility, man. You got to put the joint in there, Grafton, and you can get at me that way, man. I'll hit right back with you. I invite you to reach out to me because I love talking to the people. And before you end the call, BG, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, man, for just staying resilient. You a prime example of what that resiliency look like, what perseverance look like. You've been pushing through, bro. You've been doing it, and you've been creative with the whole approach. Like, you got people in here that got podcasts, and my boy, he got a podcast, man. You can't contain greatness, man. It's meant for everybody to glean off of it, man. A light should not be hidden up under the basket. When you put it up on the light stand, it light up everything around it. So thank you for the platform, bro. And I respect your team that you got working with you because it take a team to get this going. Shout out to the team too, man. So thank you, bro.
For sure. Now it ain't over yet. I done asked you, a few questions, but is there anything, that you just want to say, period, to the, for our audience?
Nah, man, not for real, man. Like I said, I do spoken word poetry. Like I say, you can go on there and check that out. It's all everywhere. It's streaming on iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube. It's called My Truth. It should be rotating as you see it. That's the album cover. It's called My Truth, and by Mr. CJH. I got like 17 to 19 cuts on there as far as spoken word poetry, man. Tap in at your own free time and just check me out, man. And I just encourage y'all, man. I hope to see y'all in rotation real soon at the grocery store or something. Like, you the guy that was on them Streetz podcast. Yes, ma'am, I am. So that's what I can say, man.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Well, listen, man, like I said, it was a pleasure, man, for me. I know for our listeners. And
absolutely.
We just keep doing what you're doing, man, and make sure, we stay in touch, man.
You do the same. I will, BG, man. Keep it going, man. Hey, you get your shoulders broad enough for us to stand on them, baby. I appreciate it. Them Streetz, man. Them Streetz podcast, man. Let's go, man. Let's get it.
Sure. All right. 100 respect.
100.
Black man is in prison or dodging prison, and his kids suffer. It's the anger in the black man, the cycle of hate. You in that cycle, little brother. Did you grow up with your daddy?
No.
I see inside you, man. You still got some time before it eats you up. But you got to break your cycle. Hate is broken by giving. I give to you, and I break my own hate cycle. Why do I give a shit? Me and you. We brothers, and we got to be there for our children. For me, it's too late, but not for you.